Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. My name is Jason. We're in the kitchen once again. Angela Kay is making an amazing dish today, okay? Wonderful. I love it. But she hasn't made it in a long time. Really, truly, like a long time. So I'm excited about it because I get to eat it. I get the greatest job in the world. I get to eat it, but I need to shut up and take you over there and let her show you how to make this amazing baked spaghetti.
Now we're starting with making the sauce. Now, I know you're thinking, well, I can just use a jarred sauce. No, do not with this. This sauce is specifically made for this baked spaghetti, and you're going to regret it if you don't do this.
Yeah, and we have a jarred sauce that you made. We're not using it.
Yes, because this is my baked spaghetti sauce. I only use it for the baked spaghetti. So don't question my sanity when you see some of these ingredients. I'm perfectly sane.
But it's okay to question it when you use other things.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Please do. In this pot, I have about a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and in it I am sauteing 1 medium onion chopped and 1 bell pepper. You can use any color that you have on hand. As you can see, I've got a little green in there and a little red. And 4 cloves of garlic that I have grated in there. And you want to saute them until they've started getting soft. And I've seasoned them with some salt and pepper. And they're already starting to get soft, so I'm going to start adding in the seasoning. This is where you may start questioning my sanity. Yes, I just added a lot of garlic. Fresh garlic, but I'm also going to add granulated garlic. I'm adding a little more salt. A little more pepper. And a good bit of granulated garlic. Now, to this, we are also going to add about a teaspoon of dried parsley. And I'm going to rub it between my hands to release the oils, to wake it back up.
Now, I will say, when Angela Kay says a teaspoon, we're talking about a well-rounded teaspoon.
Yes.
And it's okay to be a teaspoon plus.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because you're just measuring with your heart, and you're kind of going with it and not worrying about it, because it's just flavor.
Yes.
Don't be afraid of it.
The more flavor you add, the better.
Yeah, and we're building a sauce. Remember that.
Yes. And I'm adding about 2½ teaspoons or so of basil. This sauce is very basil and oregano heavy, because I'm adding about 2½ teaspoons of oregano as well. That's a little much, Ansel. That's a little much. But I put some of it back. And always rub the spices between your hands.
Yeah.
And always add it to the hot oil, because it helps open up those oils even more. If you add it just to the sauce itself, it's going to have a hard time opening up.
That's a good tip. I didn't know that.
Now, this is where you're going to start questioning my sanity. Add about 1.5 teaspoons of seasoned salt. Use any brand that you like. I personally prefer Redmond's. It adds a great flavor to this. Now, as you can see, you've made a really good paste there almost once you've added all those spices. Now, we are going to start adding the tomato products. I am adding 4 cups, which is 2 pint jars of my home canned tomatoes. Use the equivalent of store-bought diced tomatoes if you do not have home canned.
So that's like 2 of those jars is like, that's 32.
Yeah.
So that's a quart. No.
Yes, that's a quart.
See, I'm right. Okay, cool. So that's a quart essentially.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Now, I am also adding. You can do tomato sauce, tomato puree. I'm doing passata, which is Italian tomato puree or Italian tomato sauce. You can use any of those things, but use 4 cups of that as well, or close to it. It doesn't have to be exact with the sauce. Now, passata is very thick, so the next step you will want to use to rinse out this bottle if you use passata. So I am going to pour 1 cup of water into this bottle, or if you are using a large jar of puree, tomato puree or tomato sauce, then put it in your can and stir it up or shake it up to get all of it out of there, because you want to get all of that in there.
Cool. Good job.
You don't want to miss any of that. So now you want to stir that around really good. Those tomato chunks are going to break down. It's not, by the time this gets done cooking, it's not going to be a chunky
Smells so good, by the way. Gosh, that smells so good.
It's not going to be a chunky sauce like you would think by the time everything cooks down. So now at this point, you want to add a little sweetness to it, because all that acid you want to balance. So I'm adding about a teaspoon or so of sugar. Just a tiny pinch, just for balance. And this is where you're going to start questioning my sanity again. I'm adding 2 bay leaves, 2 smaller bay leaves. I'm using dried. If you have the privilege of being able to get fresh, then you probably would only need 1 fresh. But where we live, we cannot grow fresh bay leaves, and can't find them either. So I use dried. Now, you want to bring this up to a nice bubble. You will also want to taste it at this point. See if you need to add some more salt and pepper, because more than likely you will after adding all of that. And you want to bring this up to a bubble. Turn it down at that point to a nice simmer. Put a lid on it. Let it cook for an hour. Now it's been an hour of our sauce simmering, and as you can see, the tomatoes have broke down a lot.
Yeah.
Don't pull out the bay leaves yet, because you're not done with this. So over here, I have browned 2 pounds of ground beef. I am using 85/15. Try to go something lower in fat, because that way you don't have to drain as much fat off, because as you can see, I've drained the fat off of it.
Yeah.
I've just sauteed it, just browned it with some salt and pepper. Now I'm going to take my sauce that I made, and I'm going to pour it into my beef.
Very carefully.
Yes. Now you want to stir this in. You want to stir all this together. Now leave your bay leaves in for right now, because this has to cook for another 20 minutes to a half an hour, uncovered this time, because you want it to reduce. You want it to start thickening. And at this point, you will turn your heat up just a little bit higher. Instead of being on a low simmer, you will turn it on a little bit more toward medium low. And you will let this go for, like I said, 20 minutes to a half an hour, because you want it to reduce. And when it's your desired thickness, that's when it's done. At this point though, you want to put a large pot of water on to boil for your spaghetti, and you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Now, to answer any questions that any of you have, the reason I did the hamburger separate and added it in later, if you do the hamburger first and add all the sauce ingredients to it, your sauce is going to be very greasy, and your hamburger is going to be extremely overcooked. You're going to end up with a better texture to your hamburger and a not greasy sauce by doing it this way. Now, as you can see, your sauce is reduced down a lot, and it's gotten very thick, and it smells amazing.
It does. Tastes good too.
And I've pulled out the bay leaves, and as you can see, those chunks of tomatoes have broke down a lot. There's almost no chunks left. If you don't want it chunky at all, before you put the hamburger in, go ahead and puree it. Right. But I love the chunks. And now here we have a pound of spaghetti that I have cooked till it's just below done, till it's like al dente or a little below al dente. And I've tossed it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil so that it don't stick together while I'm layering. And for this
big bowl of cheese.
With this, you grade cheese until people start asking if you've lost your mind, and then you grade some more. This is about 12 ounces of Monterey Jack, about 12 ounces of sharp cheddar, about 12 ounces or a little more of mozzarella, and about a cup of Parmesan. That is all mixed together. I know it sounds like a lot, but you'll see why in a minute.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a 13x9 baking dish. I've got it on an insurance policy.
Yep.
Because you don't want this to bake out in the oven. So I've got a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper under it. Now we are going to put down a good layer of our sauce. You want a nice layer of it so that your spaghetti does not burn on the bottom. So you want to get down a good layer of sauce. Also, it helps everything cook better. Mm-hmm. Now you are going to put down half of your spaghetti and just scatter it around really good in the bottom of your pan. Now this makes a lot of food.
Yeah, oh yeah. This is 2 nights. This is a 2-night meal for us, plus maybe a lunch for me at work, honestly.
But it freezes well.
Yeah.
People love you if you give them some of this, because I have gave people some of this before in my years of making this. And don't throw your spaghetti everywhere like I just did. Okay, just get down about half of it, a good layer. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to add more sauce. You're going to add another good layer of sauce on top of your spaghetti. Just smoosh it around. Spread it around nicely. Make sure your spaghetti is nicely covered. Mm-hmm. Essentially. Because you've got a lot of sauce here.
Oh yeah.
So don't skimp on the sauce.
The spaghetti's going to suck a lot of it up, right?
Yes, because your spaghetti is not fully cooked.
Exactly. It's going to finish
cooking it's going to finish cooking in the sauce.
Gotcha.
And take on so much flavor. Because this sauce is big flavored. Now we're going to take about half of this cheese mixture. And we're going to put about half of that cheese mixture on top. And you want to kind of push it down at this point. You want to kind of push it down. And now, when you've got about half of your cheese on there, now you want to start over with a little more sauce. This one doesn't have to be a big layer of sauce. This is just a little layer of sauce. And you want to, after you get your layer of sauce down, you want to put the rest of your spaghetti. And then I'll show you what you do next. Now I topped it with the other half of the spaghetti and the last of the sauce, because you want to end with sauce. Now this is going to go into a 350 degree preheated oven, and it's going to bake till it's all bubbly. Probably take about between 20 and 30 minutes, but you will see it nice and bubbly. And then we'll take it out and we'll top it with the rest of the cheese. And then we'll put it back in until the cheese melts. Okay, this is out of the oven. It baked for exactly 30 minutes before I put the cheese on top. Then I put the rest of the cheese on top, and it baked for an additional 5 to 7 minutes until the cheese had melted. And I'm glad that I put it on the tray, because it always bubbles over. Always. So you always want to take out that insurance policy.
Yeah. Now we let it rest too.
You have to let this rest, just like you would a lasagna or something like that, for at least 15 minutes, so that it can settle, because that's your only hope of getting it out in a good plain slice.
Look at this beautiful bite of spaghetti right here. Wow. Full of flavor. So delicious. Perfect, honestly. It's just a perfect dish. And all the fresh tomatoes, or fresh canned tomatoes we used, and it adds, honestly, you can taste that fresh tomato flavor in it because of that. Even though it's been cooked, it's different. You know, it's different than just a canned tomato that you buy in the store. All the herbs and spices Angela used, just all, and the cheese too. Now, there's a lot of cheese, right? It doesn't feel like there's too much cheese in there. The way it cooks is done great. A fabulous, amazing job. Angela hadn't cooked this in probably 10 years. And it's so good. Miss that flavor. It's so wonderful. She did such an amazing job. So thank you guys so much for watching. We do appreciate it. My name is Jason. That's Smart. Her name is Angela Kay. This is Art of Creation Homestead. We love y'all. God bless you and goodbye.